Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Body Mind Healing. My name is Maria Sanchez. I am a holistic health consultant, a family nurse practitioner, a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and a doctor in nursing practice. The case for today is, what is fear? From a medical standpoint, fear is a natural emotional response to a perceived threat or danger. It is a survival mechanism that helps us react to potentially harmful situations by fighting, fleeing, or freezing, the well-known fight-flight-freeze response. Fear can be triggered by real, immediate dangers, as when we encounter a wild animal or imagine threats like fear of failure or rejection. The amygdala is an almond-shaped structure that is part of the limbic system and is located in the temporal lobe of the brain, near the base of the skull. Physiologically, fear activates the amygdala that is responsible for processing emotions, leading to the release of stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. This results in increased heart rate, rapid breathing, muscle tension, and heightened alertness, preparing the body for response. Fear can be rational or irrational, temporary or persistent, and mild or intense. When excessive and uncontrollable, fear might manifest as phobias or anxiety disorders, interfering with daily life. Fear is also a complex phenomenon that can be explored from multiple perspectives, including psychology, neuroscience, and personal development. From a psychological perspective, fear is an emotional response to a real or perceived threat. It serves as a fundamental survival mechanism, and it can be categorized into acute fear, chronic fear, phobias, and existential fear. Acute fear is a short-lived reaction to an immediate threat, as for example, a loud noise. Chronic fear is a persistent fear that can lead to stress and anxiety disorders. Phobias are an intense and irrational fear of a specific subject or situation, such as arachnophobia, that means fear of spiders. Existential fear is a fear of death, the unknown, or lack of meaning in life. It is important to distinguish that while fear is a response of a specific threat, anxiety is a generalized feeling or dread about potential future threats. Fear is usually short-term, while anxiety can be long-lasting and interfere with daily functioning. Fear can lead to avoidance behaviors, such as avoiding social situations due to fear of judgment, to increased caution and risk assessment, to psychological disorders like panic attacks and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. From a neuroscience perspective, fear is primarily processed in the amygdala, the structure I mentioned earlier that is in charge of emotional processing. When a potential threat is detected, several steps are taken within the brain. First, sensory information such as sight or sound is sent to the thalamus. The amygdala rapidly assesses whether the stimulus is dangerous. If a threat is perceived, the thalamus triggers the fight or flight or freeze response through the autonomic nervous system, and the adrenaline and cortisol are released from the adrenal glands located above the kidneys, leading to increased heart rate, faster breathing, and muscle tension. Fear can also be conditioned, meaning we can learn to associate specific stimuli with fear. For example, when we are bitten by a dog in childhood, we might develop a lifelong fear of dogs. Here, two structures take place. The hippocampus, a structure located in the temporal lobe of the brain that is involved in contextualizing fear, for example, learning from past fearful experiences, and the prefrontal cortex, which helps regulate fear responses and differentiate between real and imagined threats. From a personal development perspective, fear can affect our decision-making. Fear can either motivate or paralyze us. The positive role is that it encourages risk assessment, preparation, and self-protection. The negative role is that it can lead to avoidance, procrastination, and missed opportunities. But how can we overcome fear? Most success comes from psychotherapy, including exposure therapy, by gradually exposed to fear situations that helps desensitize the fear response. Cognitive reframing, by changing thoughts about fear, for example, seeing fear as excitement instead of a threat. Mindfulness and meditation, by helping regulate emotional responses. Breathing techniques, by reducing physiological symptoms of fear, such as slowing heart rate. Taking action despite fear, but realizing that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. We all experience fear at some point in our lives, if not daily. Embracing fear and working on it instead of rejecting it facilitates its processing. Fear of failure, for example, can either prevent our progress or be used as motivation to improve. Fear is a natural, physiological, and psychological response that plays a critical role in survival. While it can protect us, excessive or irrational fear can limit our personal growth and well-being. Understanding fear from psychological, neuroscientific, and personal development perspectives can help us manage it effectively. May the inner peace that we cultivate today expand and guide us always. Until next time.